Welcome to LS Plays FM and to a brand new FM21 Tactics video. Today it's the 4-5-1, a striker's paradise tactic, which gets your strikers a lot of goals and wins you a hell of a lot of trophies. Let's get into it. I'll run through how it's gone on and how the tactic works. I'm here now in FM21 and this is the 4-5-1 Strikers Paradise Tactic. You see, it looks a little bit strange, but it really does work phenomenally well, especially for your attacking players. Now, before we get into how the tactic itself works and all the results and stuff like that, if you do enjoy today's video, do make sure to drop a like down onto it. And if you want to download the tactic as well, you'll find links in the description for FM Base, FM Scout, Steam Workshop, and also for Dropbox as well. If you do use the Steam Workshop link and you like the tactic, make sure to leave some positive feedback and also to favourite it as well. And finally, before we do get going, if you do enjoy my content and you want to keep up to date with it, things such as the FM21 Tactics series or maybe my Road to Glory series, the Red Devil Revival, then do make sure to hit that subscribe button and to ring that notification bell to be notified whenever my content here on YouTube goes live. Now then, let's get into the tactic. I'll explain how it actually works and of course the weird shape and everything along those lines. In net, we have a sweeper keeper on support. We then have two ball playing defenders on defend. Nice and simple there. We then have a wing back on support on the left hand side, but then on the right hand side, we have an inverted wing back on attack. I'll explain why that is when we go further forward in the team. We also then have a halfback on defend, so halfback to drop back in between with these defenders when defending, and also still to provide a little bit of help going forward as well. We then have a box-to-box midfielder on support in the middle here, nice and simple. But on the right hand side we have a winger on support, and on the left hand side we have a wide playmaker on support. The reason why the roles are as such, an inverted wing back and wing back are like so, is the winger will stay wide and push up here, whereas the inverted wing back will push forward, but will push forward into this gap here left by the winger. So he will kind of come inside. On the left hand side, the wing back on support will stay wide and obviously overlap and everything like that, whereas the wide playmaker will cut inside and fill the gap over here. So that is the reason why they are like so. Of course, if you want to swap it over, if say you've got a better left winger rather than a right winger, of course you can swap it over, but I would advise swapping the wing back and inverted wing back over as well. But of course, it's up to you how you like to work it. This is how I used it in the simulations and it worked very well. In the attacking options, then we have an advanced playmaker on attack here in Ndombele, and finally then an advanced forward. And this advanced forward gets you crazy number of goals, just so you are aware. In terms of how the tactic itself works, we play with an attacking mentality. Of course, if you're maybe a smaller team up against bigger teams, you could maybe drop that. It's up to you. When we're in possession, we play with a fairly wide attacking width. We pass into space. I have an overlap on the left hand side and underlap on the right hand side, of course, to do with the wing backs and the inverted wing back. Of course, if you swap it over, make sure you swap these over as well. We then play out of defence. We have slightly more direct passing directness, much higher tempo, and everything else is then left to default. When we're in transition, we counter press, counter and distribute quickly. It is a counter attacking style of play. We distribute to the fullbacks and to the centre backs, and I let my keeper decide how he wants to distribute the ball. Finally, when we're out of possession, we have a higher line of engagement, a standard defensive line. We force the opponents outside. The reason being is when the halfback drops in here, we basically have a three-man defence, so I feel pretty confident in getting the ball headed clear. We then have a more urgent pressing intensity. We prevent short goalkeeper distribution and we get stuck in. This last one I just have on because it's my personal preference, but you can take that off if you would like to. Of course, if you're not able to download the tactic, you can copy everything I've got here on the screen. It will work exactly the same. In terms of player instructions, just so you're aware, the only instruction I have on any of my players is for my defenders. With the two ball playing defenders, they're both set to stay wider. The reason why is that when the halfback drops in, you don't want them all really compact and closed up. But they're the only players though that have any player instructions. Finally, we do also have some set pieces. This is just for an attacking corner. All the other set pieces are set to default, but when attacking corners, I have one set like so to the far post and then another one set to the near post as well. You can of course copy all the roles and everything like that. But that is how the tactic works. There is no opposition instructions. I leave that blank or let my assistant do it. There's no training set up either. Again, I let my assistant sort it out. And of course, I've already mentioned the player instructions. In terms of the tactic, I've used Tottenham here. First of all, I've also used Olympique Lyon over in France and also Forest Green in League 2. So we can see how it gets on with bigger teams and also with much lower teams as well. So you can see if it works for both styles of play. But what we'll do is we'll simulate on and we'll see how it gets on for Spurs using this tactic. I'm now here then at the end of the season and oh my days, Spurs have had a flipping unbelievable campaign. They have managed to not only win the Premier League, as we can see here, they are 8 clear of Man City. We'll have a look at that in more detail in a second. But Harry Kane is sitting there with 76 goals to his name and Son Heung-min is there with 31 assists. They are some pretty ridiculous figures we are looking at right there. Let's go to the competitions. What else did they win? So, of course, they won the Prem. They were runners-up in the Europa League. They lost in the final. They won the FA Cup and they were locked out in the third round of the League Cup. I guess they must have played a bit of a rotated squad there in that competition. But I'm just looking down the bottom here. The number of goals scored by Harry Kane is absolutely crazy. And the number of assists that Son has got as well is bonkers stuff. Let's go into the Premier League. So Kane got 39 goals. So he had more than 1 goal per game in the Prem. Son's up there with the second highest amount of assists. Kane's up there with one of the highest average ratings as well. He's got 10 Man the Match awards. Lloris is up there with third for the clean sheets as well. What a ridiculously good season. 28 wins, 8 draws, 2 defeats as well. Up against Southampton and Fulham. Random teams to lose against. But 92 points from Tottenham. That is some crazy stuff. If we go into the stages on here, they scored 84 goals overall. They conceded 31, so they had less than a 1 goal per game average in terms of goals conceded. Absolutely ridiculous stuff there. Spurs winning the league. Whoever would have thought that? And the amount of times I see Spurs getting relegated in the first season of the game. Clearly this formation works for Tottenham, especially for Harry Kane. He's absolutely loving life. In terms of other goals, let's have a quick look and just see where other goals were scored from. So 76 came from Kane, 11 from Ndombele, who is playing as that attacking midfielder, and then you had 9 from Højbjerg. Dele Alli got some as well, and then Son with a few. But the assists you can see there, 31 from Son, 16 from Lucas Moura, 12 from Reguilon, 11 from Ndombele, 8 from Matt Doherty. So there's a lot of assists coming from the other areas of the pitch as well. Some fantastic stuff out there. That really is. To win a double as well, domestic double, reach a European final as well. Pretty good damn stuff that from Spurs. Let's have a look though at the analyst reports as well, just so you can see. So in terms of how the team got on, goals per game was far and away higher than every side in the league really. XG per game was decent, it was above average. Conceded per game was really good, much higher than the average in the league, as was their XG against per game. Shots per game was pretty low, so it doesn't create a huge amount of chances by the sounds of it, but it's obviously very good at converting their chances in which they have. The shot percentage was quite low, pass percentage not brilliant, but tackling percentage was very decent. In terms of the scoring end of the spectrum, we have a look at Spurs. We can see here they weren't that aggressive as a team, on average only having roughly 12 shots per game, but their conversion rate is ridiculous. They are so clinical, so obviously the chances in which they are creating are really good chances. That is most definitely the case. Over 18%, in fact it's probably more, around 19% in terms of their conversion rate. Far and away the best in the league when it comes to converting chances into goals. Ridiculously good stuff there from Spurs. In terms of the defensive side of the game as well, if we have a look at that, Spurs have by far the lowest opposition conversion rate of around about 8%, and on average they're facing around about 9-10 shots per game. So pretty decent stuff. They're about kind of 5th in terms of the shots faced, but the conversion rate is the best in the league. Very good stuff. You can see just from that how good the tactic works, both creating really good chances and also preventing them as well. And just on top of that, the performance of Harry Kane and Son in that team. 31 assists from Son, 76 goals from Harry Kane. Phenomenal stuff. It really is. Of course, that is Spurs wrapped up. We're going to go now to Lyon and we'll see how they're going to line up and how they get on using this tactic. This then is Olympique Lyon, and this is roughly the team they're going to be using with this tactic. Lopez in net, Dubois at right back, Marcelo and Denayer as the ball-playing defenders, Cornet in as the left back, Thiago Mendes as the half back, De Sciglio as their right winger, Bruno Guimaraes in as the box-to-box, Aouar, Hassan Aouar that is, out as the wide playmaker, Paqueta, and then Memphis Depay up front. I'm really interested to see quite how well Depay does as that advanced forward. He's such a good player in FM. He could do a phenomenal bit of business for Lyon. In terms of where they're predicted, just so you know, in terms of Ligue 1, they are one of the better sides, of course, in Ligue 1. They are third favourites for the league. 20-1, though, of course, up against the giants that are PSG. Will they be able to topple them? Let's proceed forward and let's find out. I'm now at the end of the simulation and Lyon have done the unthinkable. And as I initially thought might be happening, Depay has had a fantastic season and so has Hussam Aouar for Lyon as that left-sided wide playmaker. They've won Ligue 1, 100 points they managed to hit. Phenomenal stuff there from Olympique Lyon. In terms of the competitions, they won Ligue 1, of course, as we can see, by a point with only 2 defeats all season. And they also won the French Cup. So they've done the domestic double. They were only in those 2 competitions. There's no League Cup in France and they were not in any European football. Fantastic stuff from Olympique Lyon. In terms of the overall Ligue 1 and the stats and so on, in terms of their goals scored and everything on those lines, we actually look at the table. 132, 4 drawn, 2 defeats, 94 goals scored and only 24 conceded. They had the joint best defence with PSG. They didn't score as many as PSG, but their team is nowhere near as strong as them, yet they won the league. 100 points. They hit triple figures. Is that, out of interest, a record in Ligue 1? Indeed it is. So they've broken the points record in Ligue 1 as well. Fantastic stuff. Depay, okay, wow, I didn't actually realise it was that good. He scored 47 goals in Ligue 1. Aouar got 23 assists in Ligue 1 as well. How many games did Depay play to score that? 38 games played, 47 goals, 5 assists, average rating of 7.6. Overall, 44 played, 53 goals. Yeah, he's had quite a good year, has Memphis Depay as that striker. Not bad, not bad. He's apparently leaving to go to Spurs. But what a phenomenal season from Memphis Depay. In terms of the assists as well, just so we can see, Aouar got the majority, Debra got a couple, and a few others from other players in the team. But that is Lyon wrapped up. We've got our final team to go and look at now, which is Forest Green Rovers. So I'll see you for that team very shortly. So this then is Forest Green, the last team we're going to look at. I wanted to do it with a League 2 or a lower league team just to see if the tactic can work with arguably weaker players and if it can still function correctly. So this is how they're roughly going to be lining up. In terms of League 2, where they're predicted, they're kind of predicted to be in and around the playoff fight. They're predicted to come second, but they're 9-1. They're exactly the same as Bradford and pretty much the same as the teams down to 7th place in Exeter. Basically, Salford are the massive favourites in League 2. So what we'll do is we'll simulate on and see just how Forest Green get on using this tactic. Here we are then at the end of the simulation, and Forest Green have outperformed Salford and arguably every other team in the league, and they have won League 2. I've also spotted as well that Aaron Collins, who is Forest Green's main kind of striker in this side, has hit 41 goals. That's pretty good stuff from a League 2 level striker. Very, very good indeed from Aaron Collins. 41 in all competitions. In terms of how they got on in all the other competitions that were taking place, of course, we know they've won League 2, 92 points hit. Very, very good stuff. They got to the second round of the FA Cup, not great, loss to Chelmsford. Lost in the second round of the League Cup to Northampton Town, who I think are in the league above anyway. And they got to the third round of the Papa John's Trophy, losing to Portsmouth, again in the league above. So, I mean, not great in the other competitions, but in League 2 itself, a phenomenal season. It really is. Collins actually hit 40 goals in just League 2. Really, really top stuff there from him. He also got the highest average rating and he got 14 man matches. It's also worth that Forest Green's keeper McGee hit 20 clean sheets as well. Really top stuff from them. In terms of the overall stats though for the league, just so you can see exactly how it did work out. 46 played, 28 wins, 8 draws, 10 defeats as well. Very, very consistent, very, very good. 78 scored, 45 conceded, so less than 1 goal conceded per game. The best goal difference in the league and of course the best points total as well. So it's clear to see even using a weaker team, the tactic still does work even at lower levels of football where the players are not quite as technically skilled. But guys, overall that does bring this tactic video to a close. And as you can see, using the 4-5-1 Strikers Paradise, you're going to get a hell of a lot of goals for your attacking players. Kane hitting over 70 goals, Depay hitting over 50, and Aaron Collins from League 2 hitting over 40 goals. It's phenomenal stuff and just so consistent regardless of whatever team you're playing with. Of course, it helps to have a striker who is quite pacey and so on, but it really doesn't matter. Even Aaron Collins isn't very pacey, yet he's getting 40 goals in a league season. It's ridiculous stuff. It really, really is. I really hope, guys, if you do use a tactic, it works well for you. Of course, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to drop a like down onto it. And if you do download a tactic and you use it on the Steam Workshop, make sure to drop some positive feedback and favourite it as well over there as well, guys. And finally, guys, as well, if you are looking forward to seeing any more of my content, such as my tactic videos, then do make sure to hit that subscribe button and to ring that notification bell to be notified when any of my content here on YouTube goes live. So, guys, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you again next time.